for today, BIGO is the topic at hand. I'm totally fascinated and can't wait to ask you all the things.
Cool. I'm so excited. It's like impossible to
Awesome.
find information about it. So yeah.
I am already fascinated. I have so many questions, but I want to back it up and start with you. So what's your experience in the adult entertainment industry, and what are you up to now?
So I like quit college at 18, 19, and I was just like, had to move back home. I had no money and I was like, what am I gonna do? So my friend who was already working in the clubs was like, hey, you should come try it out. I did it for one night and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I just can't do it. So I stepped away for like probably 5 or 6 years until I like really got comfortable with who I was, really got comfortable with my sexuality. And then I was like, all right, maybe we can try it again. And so then I started doing just like premium content stuff where I was selling stuff on the internet. And then I had moved to Denver and my friend was like, hey, I host like a pop-up strip club every month. Do you want to like maybe just try it out? And I was like, you know what? Sure. So it's like this really cool event, like very underground, where it's invite only. The clientele is really fantastic. People go there to like spend money. And so I was like, cool, why not? Like I get to pick my songs, I get to like pick what I wear, I get to pick everything about it. And I just like did so well. And I was like, okay, I can do this now. And so then I started working in clubs and kept doing like the premium stuff on Snapchat and whatever. I do like a little bit of BDSM, Dom and sub stuff. So do shibari. That's like my main kink thing for sex work. And yeah, and so then I was just like, I was getting ready to move from Denver to Los Angeles. And in the midst of my move, I was like, I can't work in California because of the laws that went there. Like, it's just not worth it anymore. So, like, what am I going to do once I get there? And a friend of mine was like, hey, you should check out this live streaming app. Like, you literally, like, I just get on there and, like, do some belly dance stuff. And I make $700 for just, like, streaming this many hours. And I'm like, damn, that's like not too bad. Like
God.
I just get to sit in front of a camera and like do dance stuff. Mind you, my background in dance, I also teach dance. I do over 30 styles of dance. So dancing is like my life, which is part of the reason why I loved working in a club so much. I was like, cool, I get to practice pole and floor work and get paid to do it. I love it. Can you tell I'm a performer? So
I love it because the industry is so split between like dancers who have to entertain and entertainers who have to dance. Like
I'm like luckily both of those things. So, um, so I was like, cool, I'm gonna try it out. And I got on there and I was like, oh my God, like this is not geared towards the dancing like whatsoever. This is like all experience that I've had to take from like working in clubs and like the connection aspect and now just like taking it to the internet. And I was like hooked after that. And so that's all I do now.
okay, so when this started fairly recently, right? Because the legal change in California happened last year. So you started on that app around when?
9 months ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's long enough to create a human life. So that is long enough to talk about it for sure. So I tried to log on to it and it was like so much was happening at once. So I wanted to, I thought a good place to start might be sort of the features of the app and how payment on it works. And then maybe we can get into the more technical, like, you know, your sales funnels and how you're converting people from place to place, all the good stuff. But let me open it because like literally I'm a grandma. So I opened it and was like, oh,
Yeah,
too
no,
much.
I'm much older than I probably look. So it was really terrifying at first. I'm just like, there's so many things, and it's so many, like, so many buttons and so many things popping up, and you're just like, I've had so many people are like, this is overwhelming, I can't do it. I'm like, it's fine. Like, it's just
Like, I got you, babe. So for anybody watching, this is what the app looks like when you open it. And there are all these rooms and then all these buttons, and that's as far as I got. So you take over now.
So once you open that page, so that's the popular page. It is either going to be, once you get into the app, it's going to be people that you like follow and view often who pop up at the top, or people who are featured. So there's things called feature hours where you can like get featured on the page, or just like the engagement that's happening in the stream. But all of those people are live streaming right now.
It started going. I wasn't ready. Okay.
Somebody's streaming. Luckily, when you're like just starting out, most people will just like overlook you going into their stream because they're like, oh, it's crazy. It's a huge video game, essentially. Like, it's a reality video game is how I see it. And so you can go into anybody's stream, you can start talking to them, you can send gifts. It's set up kind of like a campsite, but there's no like percentage taken out from whatever you get sent, which is amazing. But we can talk about that like later. So yeah, it's just getting on there at first is just, there's so many things going on. So I would say when you're starting, just like popping into some, and then just keep popping into all these streams until you find somebody you're like, oh, you're really cool, this is awesome, I want to actually hang out with you.
So it's more of a hangout app than even necessarily like the chatterbait and stuff. And so one of the things I noticed, right, if this one's big for anyone checking it out, was there was a big fat notice when I went into a room that was like, no pornographic, no this, no that. So what are some of the restrictions or things that make this different from like a regular cam room?
So you're not allowed nudity, you're not allowed sex, porn, no drugs, alcohol, violence. It's like very PG-13, and I say PG-13 because like people get away with a lot of stuff on here. So obviously being a really beautiful woman and super sexy and like sexual, comfortable with your sexuality helps a lot. And I've noticed that people who do sex work are the most successful on here because they understand that like I can use all of these things that I have, but I also need to make this connection with people, because you can't see anybody, right? Just like every other
one way, yeah.
You're essentially feeding off of the energy of the people in your room. And those people aren't going to give you anything unless you're giving them something to bounce back and forth with. And I think part of the reason I love the app so much is because there is no information on the internet about it. Like, you have to get on there and start connecting with people to even find out how it works. So the community aspect, I think, is what really drew me in, because I've been on social media forever, like at least 15 years now. So I spend more of my time on here than I do on like Facebook and Instagram now. It's insane.
Yeah, it makes sense too. Like, one of the biggest, so this is a commonality so far, every single content creator I've talked to online says this, which is, why spend time or why dedicate most of your time to the platforms that don't pay you when you can be somewhere where you're doing the same kind of social media marketing, but instead of having to convert them to another site, they're right there, like they're ready to go. So
yeah.
So let me log back in and look again. So I look at that front page and there's a bunch of different like popular pages, right? And then I see, okay, explore, so far still functional, so I can still understand this. And then there is this section which says follow, bar, and meetup.
Yes.
And I have no idea what that means.
So it's kind of like a timeline, like every other social media, sort of like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. where the follow one is gonna be all of the people that you follow and all of their
Mm-hmm.
posts that they make.
Mm-hmm.
The bar one is gonna be like popular posts. So kind of like your explore page on Instagram,
Oh.
right? And then what's the last one on there? I feel like I
Meetup.
don't even go on that. The meetup page. I honestly never use that function. There's like so many functions on here that I don't even pay attention to because there's just so much to learn, and I feel like you need to be on there for like at least, and it's changing. Like they're doing a huge push into mainstream. So they're trying to like make it a mainstream app, which is really awesome for people on there who are able to use that like finesse, you know, because you have to have a personality now. It's not just like sitting there and looking hot. Like you have to be able to engage. So, like very exciting. I feel like it's gonna like pop off and like have this huge boom. It's already like thousands of new hosts and like hundreds of thousands of new viewers who are like literally in this time of crisis. I'm like, don't see any crisis in my bank account, which is fantastic.
And that's very true for a lot of digital content creators. You know, one of the biggest things that has come out of this is, you know, the multiple income streams thing has always been a theme. Especially here, you know, like the kind of work we do, and for sex workers, it's so important to have multiple streams of revenue. But even within that, it's like there's so much specialization you can do. So like the reason I was fascinated by this, right, is because we can talk about camming all day and all night, and that's really valuable. But you're never going to hear someone say, oh, I just love camming in the abstract, right? It's like, I love this site. I love doing it this way. This is the way I set up my room. This is the kind of show I do. And this is very similar in that, like, it's this one niche market and not everybody knows about it, but that can be so valuable because just like when OnlyFans got started getting big, you know, a lot of people weren't on there. And now those people who were, it's so much easier for them to market and monetize. So even if you're like, I have no idea what the fuck BIGO is, like, doesn't hurt to have an account, you know?
I started it completely by myself. Like my friend who told me about it had stopped streaming just because like mental health stuff and, you know, taking care of her own things. And so I just like went in completely like by myself. Didn't know anybody. I didn't know how anything worked. The agency that I work for did like this initial training and then was like, all right, here you go, like go out into the world. And so I'm just like, oh my God. But like by the third month, I was like, I've got this. Like I can figure this out. And so now I do more than just streaming. I've gotten into like, you know, having an agency, and there's things called families on there. So I help run an agency and a family, which is why I've started telling all of these people about it. Cause I was like, I have the ability to like help you grow to a point where like, you're not going to need me anymore, which is great. But I still like, I want to be there to like nurture you as this little baby streamer so that you have the tools to be successful.
And so it's sort of analogous to like a referral program on OnlyFans, that kind of stuff where, how does it, so explain to me, and maybe let's double back to that in a second, like the agency and family stuff. Because I just want to make sure that I fully understand like how it would work this freaking thing on my own. Right. And then you can break down like why that might be useful. Cause I could definitely see a lot of value in having someone like handhold, because already I'm like,
yeah.
So okay, I was about to start a room, but I'm like, nah, that sounds difficult and I don't want to. So I'm gonna just click on someone's stream, and oh, it says live ended. Oh, sorry, Mia. Let's see. Okay, so perfect. This is a stream. Her face is covered, which is great for publishing reasons. So there's all this happening on the screen at once.
At the bottom, that's the chat. And then all of those things coming across the screen are gifts that she's getting. So that's money that she's making right now. That's like accessible to her right now.
So these
That
are basically tokens, right? Like these are tokens in a chat room equivalent to that.
no, this is literal money that is yours.
Mhm.
That's the
So,
best. Like, it's not a token,
okay,
it's digital currency that you
okay.
can take right after you get off stream and transfer it to
Mhm.
your bank account.
Hot, very hot.
Yeah. And so that little wheel that she has up there is incentive for people to send her a certain amount of gifts so she can spin
Mhm.
that wheel and does what the wheel says.
Okay.
Yeah. So that wheel cannot be spun by anybody but her. So you have to send the gift that she requests. She'll
Mhm.
spin that wheel and then do whatever happens on the wheel.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Clever. Um, and when you, okay, I just want to walk through the like little buttons at the top. I know this is so
Yeah.
basic, but it's
Okay.
super, trust me, if you're like watching this and you're like, bitch, figure it out, go look right now because
I
there's a lot happening.
understand. I understand.
So I see her username, and I see
Mhm.
you can see how many people are in the room. Like right
Yep.
away, those two are at the top. Then
Yep.
I see a certain amount of like what looks like little golden eggs, and those are beans.
Yes. So that is the currency that you make on the app. So
Okay.
they're called beans.
Mhm.
And that number is how many beans she has made throughout her entire time streaming on BIGO.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so public, madame.
This, like I said, it's a huge game. So like the better your stats are, the more people want to know who you are.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. So that's super valuable as a creator. So
Yeah.
how do you earn the next thing I see is stars, right?
Yes. So
On
stars
those.
are like daily milestones. So you get gifted in diamonds is like what gifters have to pay for. So
Mhm,
gifters will spend money to get diamonds,
mhm,
and then they will then use those diamonds to send gifts. And those
mhm.
gifts that you get are worth beans. So that's how you incur beans on the app or make money rather.
Where are the stars coming from?
So the stars are how many beans you've made in your stream that day. So
Okay.
stars are like milestones. So your first star, you've made 100 beans. Your second star, you've made 500 beans. Your third star, I think, is like 2,000 beans. Fourth star is 5,000, and then 10,000, and then every 10,000 it goes into what we call a box.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. It
And
is
then
like a video game. It has like a very specific set of rules.
yeah, and then once you hit certain stars, you get like a lucky spin and you win more beans. So it's just like extra money. There's just
Okay.
like so many ways to make extra money on here. Really awesome.
Love that. You really can never have enough. Um, and then there's something called a real-time heat list. And it
Yes.
looks like those are the content creators who are the most busy right now. Is that
Mhm.
accurate?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So depending on how much you're being gifted, how many people are in your room,
Mhm,
tapping, sharing, commenting,
mhm,
just like the people with the most engagement in their room
mhm.
right now.
And then I see, okay, so this is the turntable. Wait, then there's something called a turntable. And are these options that you add in? So the sort of the lottery or the spinning wheel that's built into the app.
Yes, so all of those are built in. That roulette wheel
Mhm.
is a function that you can put into your stream. This turntable is a gambling game. So like this app is very gamble friendly. If you live in a place where you can't gamble, this is where you would come to gamble.
I love it. This has all the things I love, or rather that my customers love. So I love them. It has
Yeah.
video game elements. It has the social media element. It has gorgeous women, and it has gambling. Like what
Yeah.
man wouldn't?
And people can gamble in your stream. So there's like certain gifts that they can send you
Mhm,
where it gives you beans, but it also gives the sender a chance to win back their diamonds.
mhm.
So they can like keep sending you more. And I'm just like, yes.
Amazing, amazing. So, um, I think those are all the things right at the front of the page that are super noticeable. Is there anything else that is like you should know when you look at the front page, this is what this means.
Yes, the gift button. So it is that little blue and purple button down there in the right-hand corner. That is your gift box. Once you recharge your diamonds, you will go in there and pick the gifts that people can send you.
Okay.
Or you can send the broadcaster, rather.
Okay, so this is as a customer, you're choosing what gifts you're sending.
Yep.
As the performer, what do you see when you log on to your stream? So as people are tipping you, are you seeing the same screen they are?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, there's like a couple functions that are a little bit different, but for the most part, it's the exact same screen.
And for the roulette function, for example, I see, okay, so it says 5 and then it has little icons. Is that like a shield or?
Oh yeah, probably a shield. Yep.
Okay.
So that gift is called a family shield. Yeah. Oh my God, is she really charging 5 shields for a spin? Holy crap. That's crazy. That's a lot of money. So
I feel like an alien coming down into a different planet, like with a different, because like, you know, if like an alien came to our country and we were like, okay, it's this many dollars and this many cents. You get dollars by doing work. And when you do work, you get paid this amount and then you give this amount as taxes. And they'd be like, what the fuck do you mean? Same. I'm like, the shield.
We call it the Matrix because it's literally just like a whole nother universe. Like this is we have like our own lingo and everything. It's so funny when I'm like talking, like all of my roommates are streamers. At this point, every single one of my friends I've gotten onto live streaming. And we'll like talk to each other about it with people in the room who are not streamers. And they're like, are you talking about like Dungeons and Dragons or something? Like, what are these shields and dragons and swords? And like, what are you saying? And we're like, it's fine. You're a normie. It's fine.
It's lingo for money. It's lingo for money in my pocket.
Exactly.
So you, however many shields you decide, that's, you know, you spin this wheel.
Yeah.
And then for a couple of the options. So for example, I see an option that says 20 minutes or private. And that means you create a separate chat room.
You create a separate, a whole other stream. So what I have been doing and what the smart people on the app have been doing, so that we don't have to exert as much energy, is we will sit on stream and we will say, hey, it's going to be 1 shield to enter my private stream. And so people will send you these gifts, you write their names down, and then you end your normal broadcast. You'll start a private broadcast and invite only those people who sent those gifts to access you doing a dance or you pole dancing or tying yourself up or like doing something that's a little bit more risque, that you can't necessarily get away with if you have like 3,000 people in your room.
Right. Okay. So that's like, if you're like, I'm going to put oil on myself and twerk in a bikini.
So
like
the thing with the privates is you still have to follow the guidelines. Like you don't, it doesn't excuse you from like the no nudity, no pornographic stuff. You still have to be within the guidelines, but you have a little bit more wiggle room to like play around with the things that people want to see you doing. And then that way you don't have thousands of people watching you for free.
Right.
Which is
love it.
Why I like it better than the club, because I'm like, oh, I can sit on here, connect with people, and then be like, now you have to pay me for like the real content.
Exactly, which I love. Yeah,
watching stage performances and like I can't find $1 to save my life.
Awesome. So that's a ton on that screen. That feels really usable. Let's talk about the content creation side of things, right? So you know how it works. What do you do on it? What is your, let's start with the most basic, which is, what does your schedule look like as a streamer when this is your main source?
So it really depends on the day for me, because I don't do just streaming anymore. My day typically starts at about 5 or 6 p.m. if I'm lucky. Most days I don't start until like 9 or 10 p.m. And then I'll be on usually until about 12 a.m. midnight. If I'm having like a really good night, I'll stay on until like 3 in the morning. And then some days I'm like, oh, I'm awake. I'm like ready to go. I'm going to jump on stream at like 10 a.m. and stream just like all day long. So you're allowed to stream whenever. And it's really nice. You get to like make your own schedule. So it's really just self-motivation at that point, you know, like most things if you're working for yourself. And I will do anything from like cooking to yoga to just sitting and chatting. I'll play ukulele and sing. If I'm like really feeling up for it, I'll like do some dancing for free. I do hula hooping. I'll like mess around with like simple shibari stuff. It's just like people just want to see you doing something, but also interacting with them. Like they would much rather you sit and talk to them than watch you do anything else. I've had like 15 to 2,000 people watching me wash dishes. Like, it's insane. Like you can literally clean your house and just have people watching you do that. Like thousands of people.
Our society is so wild.
It's insane. And I'm just like, there was one time when I first started, I think it was like my first or second month, where I was cleaning my bathroom, like cleaning my toilet, and I had like 700 people watching me clean my, and I'm like, y'all are really out here like that. But you know what? As long as I'm getting this, I don't care.
I'm telling you, people are out here like that. They really, really are. Like it's amazing to me how much like the most mundane things, and it's calming. I think that's part of it. You know, it's very calming to watch someone just exist and be enjoyable and like live in the bubble of their own creation versus your own, you know, reality.
And it's so wild to like know that people literally send me gifts for existing. Like that's the best part.
As they should. As they should, honestly.
Yeah, and I have people who come into my room every single time I stream. Every time. Same people. Like I've created friendships, you know what I mean? Like actual genuine friendships with these people who just want to hang out with me and like send me gifts. And I'm like, this is amazing.
So that gets me to the next thing I want to ask you about, which is building a following and a fan base on a site that seems to be very like easy to move from, you know, just like any other site on the internet. Like all it takes to go to a new stream is just whoop,
swipe,
and then you're seeing someone else. So how do you keep people hooked, entertained, and moving yourself up in rankings in something like that?
So I think the most important thing is just like the energy that you bring to your stream. You have like attention spans are so short, right? So short. We have 5 whole seconds to catch somebody's attention. So being present and like being engaging the entire time is how you keep people there. And then it's really building that relationship. Like I don't ever pass up like a thought out comment in my chat. If somebody says, hi, I'm new here, how does this work? I'm like, hey, welcome to BIGO. Like, let me know what questions you have. I'm here to help you. Staying humble is like really important, because you can like, if you're one of those people who makes really, really good money right off the bat, like it's hard to stay humble when that's not constantly happening. And so remembering that these people don't need to be giving you money, like just to sit here, like they don't need to be watching you. They don't need to send you money, but they are sending you money. So like staying really grateful and really genuine about that has helped me a lot. Just like keeping it fresh and interesting, like not doing the same thing every day, switching it up, coming up with new ideas, collaborating with other streamers, supporting other streamers is like a huge thing on the app, is like finding your people and then, you know, taking some of that money that you make and investing it back in and giving that to other streamers to just like grow your network. It's a huge networking aspect of it too, which is usually how you climb the rankings.
Yeah. Yeah, and that seems to be true across every platform so far, that it is who you know as much as what you know.
Yeah.
Just because that there is, in a club you can walk in and being new is exciting and sexy and people are about it. And I'm sure the same is true in the digital space to some degree. It's like you are new, you're a novelty, but to be a novelty, you have to be seen at first. And at a club, all you have to do is walk up. But digitally, there's so many people putting content with, where there's more content than there is attention. So it's
Yeah.
like being able to put your content there, it does matter. And I have definitely seen, like, the more I work with other people in a digital space, the easier it is to like start to make progress, just because it's like no one knows you, no one knows what you're about, but they might have known
Yeah.
this person, have a relationship with them, and be like, oh shit, if you like her, then like I
Yeah.
can want to see what she's about at least.
Yeah.
So what you also said that this isn't the, sorry, I gotta, my wife decided not today, ma'am. She said I'm going all the way back there. I'll be back. Um, so you mentioned that this isn't the only work you're doing. Does that mean you're doing other digital content creation?
No, it's all through BIGO.
Okay.
It's just other facets of BIGO. So you have live streaming, which is like truly the easiest one, I think personally, because you're only what's the word that I'm looking for? The only thing you really need to focus on is yourself in live streaming, unless of course you're like, marketing or, networking and making friends and stuff, then, you want to be there for them too. But as a live streamer, it's easy because you can just focus on yourself. But to be a paid streamer, you have to work under an agency. So all live streamers who are paid work for agencies. And I was like, I have a huge base of people that I know who would be really good at this. I should do this. Like, I'm so much better at helping people. Like, helping people is my thing. I'm a teacher too. So like, I love bringing people together, nurturing them, and then like seeing them succeed. So I was like, being an agency leader is like the smartest choice for me on top of streaming. So it's like a dual income. Love that. So I find people to come to the app, help them get started. I do trainings with them. I do like weekly check-ins. I do monthly check-ins, and I'm just very why are my words getting away from me today? I like to lay everything out so that it's like very clear, because this app is, you see it, it's just like there's so much. And I found I'm the only person on the app who does this, who like trains their hosts to be successful on this app. A lot of people are just like, here you go, figure it out. And then 3 months in, they're like, I can't do this anymore. And it's like, no, you can, you just don't have the tools to do it anymore. So I've really started focusing on the training aspect of it and helping other people succeed, because I've seen more success from them being successful.
Right. And obviously, like, you had to learn from someone along the way. And like I always say, like, trial and error, you can do it. It's just a long and hard road to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So for how does that work as far as like who's compensating you? I'm like trying to fully understand the sort of agencies and families and all of that. Is
So
it sort of like paid mentorship, or is it like you're getting a cut of their earnings as part of like a referral program?
no, so I don't know. No host has a cut taken out of their pay unless their agency personally does it. So there are some agencies who take a cut from your pay, which is super fucked up. They shouldn't be doing it. But that was them getting into the game super early and seeing that they can take extra money when agencies already get paid from BIGO. Like, we get paid from BIGO to have our people on there.
Okay.
So we get paid, the hosts get paid, everybody gets paid, which is the best part. And if you're with an agency who's like honest and not in it for just the money, you're going to make the full amount that you should be making.
Right. Because it's functionally like a headhunter program. Like you're
Right.
finding people who would be successful anyway on the app and then just bringing them in, and they pay you because they're getting compensation from like the app store, et cetera, for.
Right. Exactly.
Gotcha.
So yeah, my favorite part about this app is there is no cut taken out of like what you actually get. There is a large percentage taken out because of the way that people pay for diamonds and stuff.
Right. It's taken out
but
on there and not yours.
Exactly. That's the best part. And that's why I prefer this over camming like any day, because everything that I make is my money to keep. And then on top of it, if people are spending money on the app, now I have incentive for them to buy things off of the app.
So what does that look like?
So I will sell my Snapchat on the app. It's worth 3 shields. So in their money, it's about $60 to just have access to my Snapchat. So I have now made, it's 999 beans. So that's about 3,000 beans is like $40 to $50 on BIGO. So I've made about $40 to $50 on BIGO, and now they just have access to my Snapchat. Now if they want to contact me on Snapchat and get content from me, they can pay off of the app.
Okay.
Because you're not supposed to promote like having people pay you off app. They want to keep everything on the app, which is, fair enough. Right.
That's all apps. Yeah. But so you basically are moving them from BIGO, instead of saying like, hey, go to my OnlyFans or like go to whatever other platform where it's paid immediately. You're saying access to my Snapchat costs this much. Once they get in your Snapchat, then you can hit them with both the content that's in there, but if they want additional content or if they want to support something else that you're making, whether that be your OnlyFans or whatever, then it's all in there.
Yeah.
Love that.
And then if you really want to, I'm like one of those people who is like, send me this gift on BIGO and I'll send you this on Snapchat. Because I can pretty much triple my money if I'm getting paid on BIGO.
How does that?
So she's like, what? So
sorry.
BIGO,
I was with you through the beans and the shields. I'm just.
So you don't just make the money in gifts that you get sent.
Right.
If you're an official host, you get a host pay, like a bonus pay at the end of the month.
Got you.
So you get paid twice, which is fantastic. So you get like thousands and thousands of dollars from just gifts. And then if you get like, I usually make minimum 300,000 beans a month is my minimum, which is $2,800 extra on top of all of that.
Okay.
Which is a lot of money at the end of the day. And that's just from streaming.
Okay. Yeah. That's just like what you're getting paid to exist out there, basically.
Yeah.
As a successful streamer, obviously, not as someone who logs on like once a month and then doesn't do it.
Right. Yeah. And like my hour, I don't typically go over 5 hours a day. Like I'm not streaming for more than 5 hours a day.
Are you on there every day pretty much?
Yeah, I try to be, just because consistency is key. People want to see you. So even if you're logging on for like an hour or two, as long as you're on there and people see that you're on, they're going to be like, oh, cool. My favorite streamer's here. Like, I'm going to go hang out with her, and we'll sit with you for the whole time you're on stream. Like I have people who sit with me the entire time I'm on stream, which is amazing because it makes it go by so much faster.
Yeah, and I can't imagine like the sort of long-term bonds people build over time. Like even though it's a one-way street, it's like you're giving them a lot of comfort and a lot of like interaction.
Yeah. I've brought friends on as streamers who are like, I don't even look at Facebook anymore because I come on here and I don't feel anxiety like I do when I look at other social medias. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that makes me feel so good. Like the fact that I've been able to like be a catalyst for you to find something that takes away your anxiety instead of gives you anxiety.
Yeah, and pays your bills instead of taking up your time.
Right.
I'm trying to think of any other sort of starting out questions as far as okay, so how do cash outs work with the app? Is there like a button within the app where you like select, and where does it go into? Do you set up like card payments and everything with them?
Yeah, so you have to set up, you don't have to set it up with BIGO, but there are a few options that you can use to take the money out of BIGO. The most popular one, because it's the quickest way to get your money out, is Payoneer. So you'll make a Payoneer account, which is basically an international account.
Mhm.
Um, and you transfer the money to your Payoneer, and then you have the option of either transferring it to your bank account, or you can get a debit card where that money just
What is
stays
that
and you
called? Payoneer?
Payoneer, Payoneer.
Ah. And so when you are cashing out, you would go to your wallet and then
You probably won't have it on there because you don't have any beans, but there is, if you go into the wallet and you go to the beans section, it will have a little button underneath how many beans you have that says exchange rewards.
ah,
So you have to have a minimum of 6,700 beans to cash out, which I think is like $60 or something like that.
okay. Cool. Yep. Like literally just learning all those steps.
It's okay.
This
I
was gonna be
personally,
so fun. I'm like genuinely very excited because it just sounds like very silly and whimsical, and also like lets you do whatever it is you do versus like
yeah,
this kind of show you have to create like, no, you
yeah,
know,
it's your own reality show.
guys,
It's
we're gonna
amazing.
talk.
I was gonna say something and then I forgot what it was. Something to do with cashing out. Oh yeah. I personally have never cashed out any gifts that I've made. I have transferred those back into diamonds and have sent them to other broadcasters, or like my gifters, just to be like, hey, thanks, here's a little bit of your money back. Which
So
is a really,
you'll keep the beans you'll cash out, but the gifts you'll use it as sort of currency within that.
yep, yeah. So I keep my host pay, and then everything else I make, I usually put back into the app just because it's a way to build relationships and hit higher tiers and get more money essentially. So it's a good time. It's very communal, which is why I love it so much.
Yeah, that sounds really fun, especially right now. I feel like we're all sort of craving for a little bit of that friendship and companionship, even as content creators. You know, it's like it is very different and a lot lonelier to do it outside of the club because you're not getting that immediate like reward and rush of endorphins and like companionship. As much as we give it and sell it, it's like we're also getting reaping the rewards of that.
Yeah. There's a really cool feature on there called a multi-stream, where you can hop into a stream with like between 3 and 8 other people. And so you're all like on a Brady Bunch type screen,
Aww.
hanging out, and it's super fun. So my family, we decided to do like a live stream music festival type thing. Because we have so many like performance artists in my family. So we have like DJs. We're gonna have a DJ or somebody playing music in one box, and then we're gonna have performers in another box, and it's just gonna be like a digital music festival, right? Because everybody's like really sad that we can't go to them. So we're like, let's create one.
Love it. Love it. Anything that rewards creativity is a good time. So we've covered, I feel like we've covered most of the basics of it. As far, maybe this is a great, okay, two more questions for you. The first one is, if you could go back to yourself 9 months ago when you first started, what advice would you give yourself?
Um, I feel like my journey on the app has been like a pretty solid one. I would say the only thing I would say is try to hit those fan bonuses the first 2 months. So you get bonuses, you get more, you get paid more if you hit higher fan, if you get more fans the first couple months. And so that would be the only thing I would tell myself is try to hit those fan bonuses. Use your dance skills and use your good looks to just like entice more people in the beginning, because that first month is really crucial. So the more time and effort you put in that first month, the better you're going to do in the long run. And I've had to work really, really hard to get to where I am because I didn't have anybody helping me. So I was just like, figured it out and got there. And now I'm like, oh man, that's the only thing I wish I would have known.
Like the same, but faster. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then what else did I have for you? Oh yeah, this is a good one. Last one. What are some don'ts? What are some things that you would recommend for someone to be successful on this? What are some things to avoid, to not do, to skip out on, whatever?
I would say don't get greedy and don't get salty. Because it's really easy to like, and don't get down on yourself at the rate of other people's success. It is so easy to see all of these like really beautiful people, all of these really successful people who are doing either really well like right off the jump, or have like gotten to a place to where you're like, oh man, like, but I'm like more talented, or like I'm more fun, and all this kind of stuff. So just like comparing is not a good idea, right? That's just like life in general, but it gets really easy to do on an app like this because there's thousands of people who are prettier than you, doing better than you, more entertaining than you. And it's just like, you just have to remember that everybody's rate of success is different and it doesn't define who you are as a person at all.
Right. Yeah. And play in your wheelhouse, I always say, like, I'm not the prettiest, I'm not the smartest, I'm not a lot of things that are, because universally, right, unless you're freaking Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, like there's someone who's more fucking gorgeous and talented and gifted and rich and whatever than you, and that's fine because it's like you have your things that you're good at.
Right.
And a lot of those, strategy and hard work will overcome almost every single fucking thing. Like for as many people as I've heard going, I can't make it because of XYZ, I've seen just as many people who are like, oh, XYZ is why I'm going to be really successful, because I'm going to use that to work harder and be smarter and, do more with the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good place to end on, for anyone watching who enjoyed this, who's like, oh, I want to try it. I want to make some shields, diamonds, eggs / money.
Yes.
If they're interested in reaching out to you, what is the best place to do so?
Instagram would probably be the easiest. So if you need my Instagram, it's at @theprimordialgoddess_. Send me a message. I usually read all of them. Especially if it has something to do with BIGO, I will walk you through how to get set up. We'll get you an audition, make sure you pass. I do all the tips and tricks. Like I am with you pretty much through the very beginning until you're like, I've got this. And then I let you out of the nest, fly in the free world.
Awesome. Thank you for stopping by. That's really, really informative. For anybody watching, this is part of the Going Digital series. Make sure you check out our other clips. We have everything, content from clips, fetish, pro dom content. We just did an amazing webcam piece. So check it out. There's probably something in there for you, and keep coming back for Going Digital content. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you.